The flashbulbs popped like gunfire in the narrow players' tunnel beneath Arthur Ashe Stadium, illuminating the two women who were supposed to be enemies in less than an hour. Quinn Thompson's hand was locked tightly with Wren Caldwell's, their fingers interlaced in a grip that felt both defiant and desperate. The roar of the 23,000-strong crowd waiting for the women's singles final at the U.S. Open had been reduced to a distant hum, replaced by the frantic whispers of officials and the clicking of security cameras. "What the hell are you two doing?" the tournament director hissed, his face pale as he glanced at the live feed already broadcasting the moment to millions. Quinn's heart hammered against her ribs, the weight of 10 years of lies crashing down in a single second. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She had spent her entire career building walls, denying every rumor, smiling through interviews about her wholesome family values back in Texas. But now, with Wren's palm warm against her own, all those walls were crumbling. The past she had buried was clawing its way back, and there was no going back. It had started with a leaked video just 30 minutes earlier. Someone, maybe a disgruntled coach, maybe a former teammate, had posted old footage from their high school days on social media, captioned with the words that would destroy everything. The real reason Quinn Thompson and Wren Caldwell are facing off in the final. The clip showed them in the locker room after a state championship match, young and unaware of the camera, sharing a quick, tender kiss that spoke volumes. The internet had exploded. Hashtags like tennis lesbian scandal trended instantly. Quinn's phone had blown up with calls from her agent, her sponsors, and worst of all, her mother. "Quinn, tell me it's not true. Think of your father. Think of the church." The voice from her past still echoed in her head as she stood there now, refusing to let go of Wren's hand. Wren squeezed back, her green eyes steady despite the chaos. "We don't have to hide anymore, Quinn. Not this time." Her voice was soft but carried the edge of years of hurt. Quinn wanted to believe her, but the guilt was a knife twisting in her gut. She remembered the day she had shattered Wren's heart like it was yesterday. Back in their small Texas high school, the tennis courts had been their sanctuary. Quinn, the pastor's daughter with perfect grades and a scholarship waiting at Stanford, had first noticed Wren during tryouts. Wren was the new girl from California, all easy smiles and powerful ground strokes, transferring in after her parents' divorce. They started practicing together after school, laughing over missed balls and sharing water bottles under the blistering sun. One rainy afternoon in the equipment shed, their friendship crossed a line. Wren had leaned in first and Quinn hadn't pulled away. From that moment, their secret became everything. Stolen kisses between matches, late-night texts, promises whispered in the dark. Quinn had never felt more alive. But then the rumors started. A teammate saw them holding hands too long after practice. The church youth group began whispering. Quinn's mother found a note in her gym bag. The confrontation at home was brutal. Her father quoted scripture while her mother cried, begging her to choose the right path. Quinn, terrified of losing her family, her future, her entire world, had done the unthinkable. At the next school assembly, when asked about the rumors, she had laughed it off. "Wren's just a friend. People are crazy." She even started dating the star quarterback publicly, posting pictures that made her stomach turn. Wren had stood in the hallway that day, eyes wide with betrayal, and Quinn had walked past without a word. Wren transferred schools 2 weeks later. The guilt had never left. Now, in the tunnel, the officials were trying to separate them. "You two need to focus on the match," the director snapped. "This is not the time." But Quinn couldn't move. Her coach was yelling from the sidelines about sponsors pulling out, about the press conference already being demanded. Wren's agent was on the phone, voice frantic. The weight of every choice Quinn had made pressed down harder. She looked at Wren, seeing the same girl from the shed but older, stronger, still waiting for an answer. "I'm sorry," Quinn whispered, the words barely audible over the growing noise. Wren's grip tightened. Sorry isn't enough anymore. The tunnel doors opened to the court, and the crowd's roar hit them like a wave. Quinn knew the real match wasn't the one they were about to play. It was the one she'd been running from for 10 years. Security ushered them into a private holding room off the tunnel, the door slamming shut behind them like a judge's gavel. Quinn's legs felt weak as she sank onto a metal chair, the leaked video still playing on loop in her mind. Wren paced, her tennis skirt swishing with each step, the same determined stride Quinn remembered from high school. How did they even get that footage? Wren demanded, stopping to face her. I deleted everything. You made sure of that, remember? The accusation landed like a forehand winner. Quinn flinched. She did remember. After the denial, she had begged Wren to erase every photo, every message. For my family, she had said then. Now those words tasted like ash. Outside, the stadium announcer was stalling, telling the crowd there was a slight delay due to technical issues. But everyone with a phone knew the truth. Social media was on fire. Clips of their handhold were already viral, commentators speculating wildly. Quinn's mother called again. This time Quinn answered on speaker, her voice shaking. Mom, please. Not now. The reply was ice. Your father is watching from the hospital bed. Do you want to kill him with this shame? Wren turned away, jaw tight, but Quinn saw the hurt flash across her face. The same hurt from that hallway 10 years ago. The flashback pulled Quinn under again. After the assembly denial, Wren had cornered her in the parking lot. Was any of it real? Wren had asked, tears streaming. Quinn had looked her in the eye and lied. It was just a phase. I was confused. Wren had driven away that night and never looked back. Quinn had thrown herself into tennis, using every match as punishment, every trophy as proof she had chosen correctly. But the emptiness never left. In the holding room, Wren stopped pacing. You chose them over me then. Are you going to do it again? Quinn stood, crossing the small space until they were inches apart. I was 17 and scared. My dad said I'd go to hell. My mom said I'd lose everything. Wren's laugh was bitter. And now? You're 28, top-ranked and still scared. The door burst open. Their coaches stormed in, faces red. The sponsors are threatening to drop you both, Quinn's coach barked. Nike Wilson, they're on the line. You walk out there holding hands and it's over. Wren's coach added. The WTA is watching. This could change everything for women's sports. Quinn felt the familiar pressure rising. The same suffocating weight from her childhood kitchen table. But this time Wren was right there, not a memory. I can't lose you again, Quinn said quietly. Wren met her eyes. Then don't. The room fell silent except for the distant crowd chanting their names. Quinn's phone buzzed with a text from her sister. Dad's crying. Fix this. The guilt twisted deeper. She had spent years convincing herself the denial was protection. For her family, her career, even for Wren. Now it felt like the biggest mistake of her life. The officials knocked. 5 minutes until we have to start or forfeit. Quinn reached for Wren's hand again. This time she didn't let go. The walk to the court felt like a gauntlet. Cameras flashed from every angle as they stepped into the stadium lights, still holding hands. The crowd's reaction was a roar of confusion. Cheers mixed with boos, phones held high recording every second. Quinn's stomach churned. She could see the headlines forming. Lesbian scandal rocks U.S. Open final. But Wren's grip was steady, grounding her. They reached the net for the traditional handshake, but instead of releasing, Quinn pulled Wren closer for a brief, public embrace. The stadium erupted. This is our truth, Quinn whispered into Wren's ear before they separated to their baselines. The umpire called for the coin toss, voice shaky. The match was on, but nothing about it felt normal. During the warm-up, Quinn's mind raced through another layer of the past. College years at Stanford, she had dated men her family approved of, all while watching Wren's rising career from afar. Wren had moved to California, trained under a progressive coach, and come out quietly to her own circle. Quinn had followed every match online, the guilt a constant shadow. One night in her sophomore year, after a brutal loss, Quinn had almost called Wren. Instead, she had gone to church with her parents, praying for the feelings to disappear. They never did. Now serving first, Quinn's racket felt heavy. Her first serve went long. The crowd murmured. Wren returned the next point with power, but her eyes held no triumph, only pain. Between points, Quinn glanced at the box where her family would have sat. Empty. Her agent's text earlier. Your mother said don't come home. The moral weight pressed harder. Was love worth destroying her family? Was hiding worth losing Wren twice? At the changeover, Wren sat across the net, towel over her head. You okay? She asked quietly, the mic picking up nothing. Quinn nodded, but tears stung her eyes. I never stopped loving you. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Wren's expression softened for a split second, then hardened. Actions, Quinn. Not words. The second set began with the score tied. Every rally felt personal. Quinn won the first game, but the boos grew louder from conservative sections. A fan shouted, "Disgrace to the sport." Security moved in. Quinn's coach signaled frantically from the sidelines. Sponsors were pulling ads live on air. The psychological pressure built like a storm. Quinn double faulted twice in the next game. Wren broke her serve. The crowd split, some chanting "love is love," others silent or jeering. Quinn's mind flashed to high school graduation. Wren had left without saying goodbye. Quinn had stood on stage accepting her award, smiling for her parents while her heart broke in silence. Now the same choice loomed. By the end of the set, the score was 6-4 for Wren. Quinn wiped sweat from her brow, the guilt mixing with exhaustion. During the break, her phone, left with the ball kid, buzzed with a voice note from her father. "If you choose this, you're no daughter of mine." Quinn listened, tears falling. Wren saw and reached across the barrier, taking her hand again in full view of the cameras. The stadium gasped. "Whatever happens," Wren said, "we face it together this time." Quinn nodded, the awakening beginning to crack through the fear. The match continued, but the real battle was inside her. One more set and everything would change. The third set stretched into a war of attrition. Quinn fought back, winning the first two games, her serves finally landing with precision born of desperation. But every point came with a new wave of judgment. Social media updates flashed on the stadium screens between games. Sponsors dropping statements, religious groups calling for boycotts, LGBTQ+ organizations praising their courage. The duality tore at Quinn. She had always wanted acceptance, but not like this. Not at the cost of her family's love. Wren won the next game with a blistering backhand, the crowd erupting in mixed cheers. At the changeover, Quinn's agent appeared at the sideline, whispering urgently, "Nike wants a statement denying everything. Say it's a misunderstanding. Save the contracts." Quinn looked at Wren, who was watching her with those steady green eyes. "No," Quinn said aloud. The agent paled. "You're throwing away millions." Another flashback hit during the next rally. The summer after high school, before Wren left, Quinn had driven to Wren's house at midnight. They had sat in the car crying, promising it wasn't over. But Quinn's mother had called the next morning with an ultimatum. Choose God or choose her. You can't have both. Quinn had chosen silence. Wren had waited for a call that never came. Now down 4-3 in the set, Quinn faulted twice. The umpire warned about time. The pressure from the community was suffocating. Former teammates posting online, some supportive, others saying it ruined the integrity of women's sports. Quinn's moral compass spun. Was her love selfish if it hurt so many? The guilt felt like a physical weight on her shoulders. Wren broke serve again, taking a 5-3 lead. During the break, a reporter somehow slipped a question from the stands. "Quinn, does your family support this?" Quinn froze. The stadium quieted. She gripped her racket, then looked straight into the nearest camera. "My family taught me love. I'm finally listening." The crowd roared. Wren smiled faintly across the net, the first real smile Quinn had seen in years. But the victory was short-lived. Quinn's phone, now in her bag, buzzed with a message from her sister. "Mom's in tears. Dad won't speak. Is this worth it?" The question echoed Quinn's own thoughts. The set continued, Wren closing in on match point. Quinn saved it with a desperate lob, the rally lasting 20 strokes. The physical exhaustion mirrored her emotional one. Confrontations piled up, the WTA official warning about future penalties, the crowd chanting divided slogans. Quinn realized the real redemption wouldn't come from winning the trophy. It would come from finally standing without shame. At 5-4, Wren served for the match. Quinn returned aggressively, the ball flying true. They traded points until deuce. Every swing carried the weight of their shared history. Quinn's awakening grew stronger with each breath. She no longer wanted to hide. The set reached 6-5. Wren held serve. Match point again. Quinn saved it once more, but her legs burned. The crowd was on its feet. In that moment, Quinn knew the handhold had already rewritten more than the tournament. It had rewritten her. Wren won the final point with a clean ace. The stadium exploded, but the applause was fractured. Half the crowd cheering the tennis, the other half reacting to the larger story. Wren dropped her racket and walked to the net, but instead of the usual handshake, she pulled Quinn into a full embrace. Cameras zoomed in. Quinn held on, tears mixing with sweat. "I love you," she said into the mic accidentally left on. The words echoed through the speakers. The world heard. The backlash was instant. Phones lit up with outrage from conservative outlets. Sponsors released statements cutting ties. But something else happened too. Thousands of messages flooded in from young athletes, thanking them for the courage. The tournament director approached, face grim. "The award ceremony will proceed, but expect questions." Back in the locker room, the real confrontations began. Quinn's phone wouldn't stop. Her father's voicemail. "You've embarrassed the family name." Her mother's text. "Come home and repent." Quinn deleted them, hands shaking. Wren sat beside her, quiet. "They'll come around," Wren offered, but Quinn knew it might not be true. The guilt resurfaced in waves. She had caused Wren years of loneliness, her family pain, the sport division. "I was wrong," Quinn admitted. "I thought denying us would protect everyone. It only broke us." Wren listened, then shared her side, the depression after the move, the therapy, the decision to never love in secret again. Their conversation stretched hours, timelines overlapping as they recounted missed calls. Almost meetings at tournaments, the silent ache. Media waited outside. Quinn faced them first, Wren beside her. "I denied my truth for too long because of fear. Today I choose honesty." Questions flew. "Will you still play? What about your family?" Quinn answered each with raw honesty, the moral weight lifting slightly with every word. But the pain was fresh. A former coach called, saying, "You've set women's tennis back." Teammates from college texted mixed reactions. Quinn's internal battle raged. The little girl who wanted her parents' pride versus the woman who wanted her own life. Wren squeezed her hand. "We healed together." That night in the hotel they talked until dawn. Quinn cried for the girl she had hurt, for the family she might lose. The redemption journey was just starting, and it hurt more than any loss on court. Sponsors pulled out, rankings threatened, but Quinn felt freer than ever. The handhold had cost her everything familiar, yet given her back herself. Weeks blurred after the final. Quinn moved out of her family home in Texas, the silence from her parents louder than any argument. Wren stayed by her side, their relationship public and real for the first time. The WTA issued a statement supporting inclusion, citing their moment as a turning point. Tournaments invited them as a pair for exhibitions. But the backlash lingered. Hate mail, empty seats at some events, Quinn's ranking slipping from lost endorsements. The psychological toll showed in sleepless nights and therapy sessions where Quinn unpacked layers of guilt. "I chose fear over love," she told the counselor. "Now I choose us." Wren forgave slowly, their bond strengthening through honest talks about the past. Flashbacks still came, but now they ended with acceptance instead of regret. One evening in New York, Quinn called her mother. The conversation was short and tearful. "I still love you," Quinn said, "but I can't deny who I am." Her mother hung up without answering. The pain cut deep, but Quinn didn't break. She and Wren trained together, their doubles partnership already drawing crowds. The tournament history had indeed changed. The U.S. Open now featured rainbow branding, and young players came out more openly. Quinn's awakening was complete, but redemption remained painful. She attended family counseling alone when her father refused. Wren held her after every hard day. In the end, they stood on the same court where it all exploded, this time for a charity match. Holding hands publicly felt natural. No longer a scandal but a statement. The crowd cheered without division. Quinn looked at Wren and smiled. The journey had cost friendships, family ties, and stability, but it had given them truth. As they waved to the stands, Quinn knew the scars would fade but never disappear. Was it wrong for Quinn to have denied her true love for Wren all those years just to satisfy her family's expectations?